Good evening, everyone. Before we start the meeting tonight, you may have heard that there was an election that happened actually 13 days ago. Would like to begin the meeting with the swearing in of the newly elected members of the Guilford Board of Finance. I have asked Board of Finance member and attorney Jeff Beattie to do the swearing in ceremony, so to speak, ceremony. Sure. And at first, what we'd like to do is have Robert Hartman get sworn in. There's no flag. Missed that.
Mr. Hartman.
Sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Guilford, so long as you continue as a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office as a member of the Board of the Town of Guilford Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, Megan Scanlon.
Megan Scanlon, do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Guilford, so long as you continue as a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office as a member of the Town of Guilford Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Congratulations.
And next up, Michael Epps.
Michael Ailes, do you solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Guilford, so long as you continue as a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the office as a member of the Town of Guilford Board of Finance to the best of your abilities, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Attorney Beattie, thank you very much. I appreciate you stepping up.
My pleasure. Happy to help out.
Fairly short notice. And I want to congratulate, of course, Megan and Bob, as colleagues on the board. Thank you for your service as well for the next 4 years on the Board of Finance. Thank you very much.
And you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I want to call the Monday, November 20th, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of Finance to order. And I'd like to ask the board to add to the agenda the items that are noted under item 1 on our board pack regarding the election of officers.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just a real quick synopsis to meet the procedural process regarding the officers of the Board of Finance. The Guilford Town Charter states that we must re-elect or reappoint the chairman, vice chairman, and clerk of the Board of Finance within 2 weeks following a regular town election. So we're just sneaking in it. So at this point, I would like to ask for nominations for chairman pro tempore.
I nominate Megan Scanlon.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other motions, nominations? Sorry.
Move the nominations be closed. Do I have to do that?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Second. All in favor of nominations being closed? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Megan, you are chairman pro tempore.
All right. So I would like to move that we move to the agenda item of electing a chairman of the Board of Finance. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Michael Ailes as chairman of the Board of Finance for the Town of Guilford.
Second.
Do I hear any discussion? No.
Keep the good work.
Okay. There you go. All right. Move the nominations be closed.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Of nominations being closed,
Yes,
right?
of nominations being closed. All right. All in favor of Michael Ailes to be chairman of the Board of Finance?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Congratulations.
Although I feel like I should abstain from that, voting for myself, but thank you, everyone.
I think you're
Appreciate
allowed.
it. I think I'm allowed. Thank you. So
All right, moving on to vice chair, the position of vice chair.
I can take it over
You
from
can take
here.
over,
Yep.
Chairman? Great.
Yep. So at this point, wanted to ask for nominations for Vice Chairman of the Board of Finance. This is also in accordance with Section 6.1 of the Guilford Town Charter.
I'd like to nominate Veronica Wallace as vice chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Further discussion?
I'll move we close nominations.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All in favor of Veronica Wallace as Vice Chair of the Board of Finance?
Aye.
Aye.
Are
Opposed?
you also saying aye?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good for you. All right, I don't feel so bad now.
No, I'm sitting here thinking, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
You want to switch? Congratulations, Veronica. And finally, we need to, I need to ask for nominations for appointment of the clerk to the Board of Finance.
No, I think we just appoint. I don't think we have to nominate.
Nominations for appointment?
Appointment of clerk.
I think we have to,
We have to
we
formally
just appoint? All right,
No,
well,
we just appoint.
okay, we're all in favor.
I'd like to appoint Tracy Brinkman as our clerk.
Second.
All right, well, no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Another unanimous vote?
I didn't think so. Okay.
Can't get away.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
There goes Monday Night
Well
Football.
done, Tracy. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, moving forward to item number 2 on public forum. Anybody wishing to address the Board of Finance in public forum? Seeing none. Approve minutes of our regular meeting minutes of October 16th, 2023. Do I hear a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion regarding the minutes, meeting minutes?
I had one small revision.
Okay.
On page 6, the third paragraph of section 8 under new business. In the middle of the paragraph where it says, the sentence beginning, there has been an as asked from management union representative. I would just take out the word as. There's been an ask from management and union representation that they look at some efforts to enhance their retention strategy.
Okay. Anything else? I did not see anything else on my end. Okay, if nothing else, I'll call the question. All in favor of the minutes? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions?
Abstain.
Veronica and Bob. Yes, correct. Thank you. Okay, correspondence. Item number 4. Standing Building Committee. So I told Standing Building Committee Chairman DeMaio to wait to join us maybe 10 minutes at 7:40 because we had some things to take care of because I, don't want to waste his time or, well, it turns out that it's 7:39 and we moved through pretty quickly, so.
You can come back.
We could, why don't we do that? We could just move on to pension and OPEB and governance. So anything on item number 2, correspondence, pension committee minutes, or the investment report? The investment report mimicked my 401k, yeah. So I didn't feel so bad. If nothing on pension or investment, anything on OPEB?
I was curious, when did we start the OPEB fund? Maybe you don't know off the bat, but
Well,
2 years ago, was it?
2 years.
2 years ago, we're in the second year of us
Yeah.
funding it, so it
It's like
was
2021.
September of '21.
Okay, and then, I don't think we've done anything but fund it, right? We haven't paid anything with it.
No, we won't be paying anything out of it until it has reached probably about 50% funded. And then we'll start having the conversation to maybe start using the funds.
Where do you think that is, 50% funding?
You mean where it is now, percent?
No, I mean, how much dollar amount you think
Oh.
is 50%?
Our overall pension liability, I think, is somewhere, I want to say 23, 25 million.
No, it was 28.
28, I'm trying to go off the top of my head.
So it's like
Off my-
14.
So it's about 14 million.
So, and we're not funding it rapidly. We have a 5-year tier system, so each year the town and the Board of Ed put in more to work its way up to level funding.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to continue to item number 4. That's just basically, we were all received this, the governance planning communication letter that came from CLA, Clifton Larson Allen, regarding the audit. This is really just for record. I have heard that the process has gone very smoothly with the
Much
audit,
better than this year.
with the auditor. So, so that's a good thing, good sign.
And there haven't been any delays or anything on their end?
No,
Okay.
no delays. We should be all set for year end.
Great,
Right?
excellent.
And I mean calendar year end. Sorry.
Yeah.
Too many
Right.
year ends. Calendar year end.
Calendar year end, yeah.
Right. Okay, we're going to shoot back up to item number 1, Standing Building Committee minutes. And David DeMeo is on. Good evening, David.
Good evening, folks.
We ran a little ahead of schedule, so we went through a couple of items, but we're coming back to Standing Building. And with that, Board of Finance, any questions or items for Chairman DeMeo? I had a couple of things. One of the items is going to be coming up again later on regarding funding, and that that is regarding the Baldwin HVAC project. And I'm assuming there might be a couple of questions regarding the funding request. I don't know if that's something that Mary Jane or Matt or David you want to tackle, but I know we have a funding request coming up at the end of our meeting, or close to the end of it, for authorizing of $94,000. A supplemental appropriation, which from what I understand is really just a transfer that's going between, is it a transfer between bond resolutions, or are they all within the same?
Transfer within a bond.
Within a bond?
Yes.
Okay, so that's even better. Okay,
Within
I wasn't
an
sure if
authorization.
there was.
So I did include, I know we're not on that topic, but I did include.
Yeah.
Cliff had provided some backup because I'm not.
Okay, no, that's great.
So maybe David,
That-
if David can help answer any questions on the specific project, that I really can't do.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
Other than what's on this
And
sheet.
again, we're just reading the meeting minutes from October that were in our package regarding the modifications for AHU, that's Air Handling Unit 5 and 6, for a total fee of $83,804. And then the request is for $94,000. So if you could shed a little light as the building committee chair and expert, that would be great.
Sure. And I can, I'll just run you back real quick.
Sure.
This project was closed out in the height of COVID, and unfortunately the schools were shut, so the system never got really tested or under load. And the following year, when the schools were open, it was determined that there was a airflow issue with air handling units 5 and 6. And we've been dealing with this for a strong 2 years now, going back and forth between the contractor and Silver Petroselli as the design team. And we also brought in a third-party consultant who arrived at the same conclusion that Silver Petroselli did, that there was an issue with the elbows that were connecting the new air handler units to the existing ductwork. This was an equipment change, it wasn't an entire system change. So, we went back and forth with the contractor that did the work, and we were heading to the path of litigation, and with some town council recommendations, we decided to recommended was close the project with them and move on, and go the route of getting new bids for this project. And as Cliff mentioned, and you folks will be voting on, there are funds available from the Cox project. So it's a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but we need to get this system up and running. And ultimately, you know, the funds are there in the town, and we don't like the idea that the town is spending more money than they have to, but the money is available. It's not like it just doesn't exist. We are talking to Silver Petroselli about their liability in this, because we feel that there were some design errors on the part of Silver Petroselli, and possibly some fabrication errors on the part of the contractor. And the contractor took a very hard line with us, and again, we felt that, you know, going to litigation wasn't going to be in the best interest. We needed to get this solved. So that's kind of the 5 minutes or less issue with this project. And happy to answer any questions or to clarification for the board.
Yes, I'd like to do that. And before I open it up, I know this is not a surprise to any of us in terms of the issue, because it's been in our standing building committee minutes, so this is not a surprise. However, I do, David, I just want to, on my behalf, just knowing, having been a member of the building committee, I know this has probably been some headaches over the time, but I do commend the building committee in going the route that they are, and moving on and not going into litigation. This could have been, you know, it could have been a lot more money going the litigation route, especially when you have a contractor or a designer or an entity that is going to dig their heels in. So as much as we don't want to spend the money, I also, you know, let's keep in mind that an appropriation is an approved amount, though we don't want to necessarily spend it. The taxpayers have voted that a certain amount, and we still have money remaining, so we are fortunate that we have that. But I think it could have been a lot worse had we gone the litigation route. So with that, I do commend the building committee going that direction from what I know on my side, both from the building committee and as a professional in the industry. So does it? Yes. Yep. Matt, go ahead.
Dave, I greatly appreciate the thought you put into this. It's a difficult decision to walk away from a battle that you think you can win, but it might be too expensive to win it, fighting contractors. The only question I have is, as we go forward, does this change the perception of the Standing Building Committee relative to some of the contractors that have been involved in this?
It does. And I'm not sure the exact approach yet. We've been talking to Jeff D'Onofrio about how we can avoid issues like this in the future.
Yep.
So I don't have a solid answer for you. I just know that it's on our agenda to circle back and find out how best to protect the town with these types of items.
Thank you very much, Ted.
I think part of this also, there is some uniqueness to it, where the project was done and then there was, you know, not to blame everything on COVID, but there was a delay.
Unfortunate situation.
It's somewhat unique. So.
Kind of get closed out for, I think, financial reasons. Like maybe there was a bond or something on it that we just needed to close the project.
Yeah.
So, you know, under normal circumstances, the project wouldn't have been closed out until commissioning was complete and everything was really fully tested under load. And so it's certainly a unique situation, but we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And again, we have a very uncooperative contractor to work with here.
Are there any other questions regarding that particular issue? Because that will maybe or maybe not affect any kind of discussions we have in item number 7. So now's the time.
Well, I have a related question.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's related. But
okay.
In our warrants, there were a handful of charges for emergency HVAC repairs.
At Baldwin?
I didn't say. That was going to be my question,
Okay.
whether they were
Okay.
related to Baldwin or not.
I remember seeing those as well, but
We did have that discussion with Cliff, and he's supposed to be providing us with a background. Yes, you're right, there were emergency repairs or emergency calls. And some of those were handled by his team, and some of them were handled by Sagamore, who was the contractor. We're trying to get the whole picture put together before we go back to Silver Petroselli. And not that they're not the sole cause of the issue, but we are going to try and get some relief from them since they are an approved and active vendor in the town. So that is on Cliff's to-do list for us.
okay. Oh, Linda Trudeau, yes.
If you're referring to the aerodynamics charges on the warrant, those were not for Baldwin. Okay. If you're looking at another vendor, I can check another one, but I know aerodynamics was not.
It was in the, yeah, it's probably aerodynamic, because it was in the beginning of the warrants, and there were like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah,
But the school wasn't listed.
It was Adams, Cox, Lee, and Jones.
Okay.
It was not Baldwin.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, if that was a question for me, I didn't catch it.
No, it was a confirmation that the emergency repairs that Veronica saw were actually not related to Baldwin. They were other schools.
Okay.
Dave, just one thing for me to clear it up in my mind, and I support the decision moving ahead, of course, and I know, these things have to be done, and you have to look at the total cost, the total economics of the picture. I'm just curious, were there funds paid out to the contractor that we would have sought to recover? Is there any recourse, or is the amount that we're talking about now to shift, is that the amount that would have gone to them?
Had we had the opportunity to test the system under load, we still would have had the contractor's retainage on the project, if that's what you're asking. We would have had a lot of money, and the retainers certainly would not have been released if the system wasn't up and running properly. At that point, when there's money on the table, it's a whole different position.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So Dave, I got questions about the next project, which appears to be in trouble. And this is the renovations at 59.5 New England Road, which we thought would cost $1.25 million, and now we got a proposal for $2 million, if I'm understanding this correctly, with some possible cost savings of $435,000 to bring it back down to earth. That was section 12.
Yes. So I was not in attendance at this meeting. I was out of state, so I wasn't specifically involved in the conversation. I can imagine that this was more of an information for the committee, and the project's not going to move forward until they get at least close back down to that budget. I don't know what would have changed between the time that the budget was built and the new costs. Cliff has been handling this directly with R&L, and this was bid as a CM project. They bid a CM fee, and I believe they asked CM to come up with a budget on probably not complete drawings, which is pretty typical. And I can't comment right now as to what may have changed from the schematic design to complete design that accounted for this significant increase. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in December. Clearly, not having to pay prevailing wages is a significant amount of it, and maybe it could be that when the budget was put together, it was not quoted or not budgeted at prevailing wage.
David, thank you. Would it be also somewhat likely that, based on what we're seeing in terms of just the climate regarding escalation, items of inflation escalation, supply, that might have driven the number up? Because I think you and I both know just from, again, our professional experience, and I was also somewhat, I wouldn't say enlightened, I guess, but that was the word, or surprised to see that type of, $2 million was the initial from a 1.25 million. But
I'm sure that's a contributing factor, but knowing when
not to the level of 750.
It's been less than a year since the budgets were put in, and though I think prices have stabilized to some degree.
Okay.
We haven't seen the same significant escalations that we saw during and stripping right after COVID. Things have certainly calmed down, and they're still not where they want to be, but I don't think you can blame the difference between, even when you take the 400,000 out, I don't think you can blame that difference, that delta, totally on price increases. There may be some change in scope that we're not aware of. Probably a combination of change in scope and some price increases, but I don't think it's all price increases.
Right, I would agree. The one other question I did have is the original estimate of 1.25. Where did the building committee get that estimate from originally, if it was within the last year?
The building committee received it from Cliff.
Okay.
I believe that there was 3 or 4 construction managers that bid on the project, and we can go back into the records and look at how it was.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. And by the way, I want to make sure it's clear that Cliff, usually does not just pull these numbers out of thin air. So
no.
I want to make that absolutely clear that I was wondering where Cliff was getting his information from to provide that estimate. So if he received it from 2 or 3 different sources and then either combined them or compared them, I'm sure that's what he did. But it is a large discrepancy with, based on what was bid and what the estimate was. So, but the building committee obviously is looking at a lot of different areas that could be opportunities for savings. So, Linda, yes, I saw your hands.
So I do know that the prevailing wage was part of the cost.
Okay.
You don't have to do it as prevailing wage because there are no state funds involved in this project.
Right.
They were going back and looking at the project and looking at areas where they possibly could reduce. I know they mentioned something about some changes in lighting, some changes in ceiling tiles, where we wouldn't compromise the quality of what was being installed, but find a better priced, suitable option. So they were going back and looking through the plans again and going through it and to see where they could reduce the costs.
Yeah, I also want to note, and David made a good point. We're not to bring my office, what I did. We're seeing that on a couple of projects as well, that projects are coming in over. But there's also several overhead factors, and there's a big difference between going with a CM, which has overhead associated with it, which can knock that number up too. There's probably half a dozen to 8, 10 factors that are probably driving this number higher. CM delivery can do that. It can bring the number up as opposed to design, bid, build, where you design it and then you bid it out and then you get contractors, competing against each other. The CM method, though, is usually when it's figured out and you get the budget where it is, it's usually nailed down. So you're not going to be getting lots of change orders. The CM process is in my view, is a better process. However, you're going to have more overhead that is probably built into that number. So, David, would you say that's somewhat accurate?
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I mean, the CM fee, they're going to earn their fee by going out to a significant number of contractors, doing scope reviews, and making sure that when the budget is nailed down, that's solid. And with design, plan, inspect, there's always the opportunity for contractors to find loopholes.
Right.
If I would use that word, or deficiencies in something, and they'll change order you to death. And once you're under contract with them, you know, it's a hard battle.
Yeah, and this process, they're involved from day one. They're involved throughout the entire process as opposed to, oh, I didn't, you know, I wasn't aware of that during the design process. Well, they are. So they are trying to get the, I'll be interested to see how this all ends up. But ultimately, you know, I think it's good to let the taxpayers know, let all us know that the building committee is looking at ways to reduce this, and nothing will move forward until it does, so.
So if memory serves me, the school already came back for an additional like $300,000 for this project to redecorate and refurnish the offices on top of the original estimate.
There was an additional amount, but there was also an FF&E bond. There was something that came forward in April for bonding. That was, but that's separate.
So I wonder if they're going to come to us for another $250,000, $300,000 or so.
Well, everything's going to come forward to us, but
They're
at this
gonna come
point,
back
we've
to
got
us for an
we've got
elevator.
what's that?
They're gonna come back to us for an elevator, because we took that out of the budget, and that's on you know, what do I wanna say, it's a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
That was also New England Road? I
Yeah.
can't recall that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was taken out of the budget.
Well, Dave, we
Appreciate the answer, though. I was wondering how it's so far off.
yeah, I think we all were, and I'm sure
Yeah.
the building committee is too. So,
I suspect we'll have more information in a couple of weeks when we meet. I expect some kind of information from Cliff.
right, great. Does anybody else on the board have anything for David?
One more question.
Amy,
back on
yes.
On the Baldwin project, is the difference between the $94,000 ask and the $83,000 fee from Rutolo, is that just contingency, or is there another concrete fee that you know about?
There's a commissioning component and a balancing component of the system that Cliff said he can get done himself outside of the contractors. So we're saving the contractor's fee. Instead of having Rutolo Plumbing handle the commissioning and the balancing, Cliff is going to do it himself, and therefore you're saving probably 10 or 12% on that number.
And that's the better way of doing it anyway, because it's third party commissioning
That's correct.
rather than having them doing their own commissioning. Yeah, so that's the way to go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Amy.
That's the difference between the two numbers.
That's a good question. Okay. Anything else for building committee? David, thank you for your time. We grilled you tonight.
Yeah.
So it was worth it, right?
No,
Tough questions
that's okay.
tonight.
Thank you for all you guys do.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy holiday.
Thank you, you guys do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, we will move on to item number 5. Review and accept the report of expenditures to the Board of Education for October 2023. Linda Trudeau, Moira Rader is with us virtually this evening. Good evening, Moira.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Very good.
Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I have college-aged kids coming in home tonight and tomorrow morning, so I'm trying to be around here. But it's good to see you all. And I was the reviewer for the expenditures of the Board of Ed this month for October 2023, so I will briefly go through our report. Expenditures for the month of October 2023 were $5,227,336.37. Our revenue for October 23 was $31,370.47, which includes $317.80 for non-resident tuition, $10,000 for tuition from Madison, $187.67 for charging station revenue, $320 donation to LEAP from Ecolab, and $20,553 for pre-K tuition, because at the beginning of the year, that number is high. Salaries, the percentage of the budget expended approximates the prior year. Clerical building salaries are higher than in the prior year due to our safety monitors, which we now have one in every one of our school buildings. And that is being reimbursed by the town this year through ARPA funds. This is something we will now have to incorporate and are planning to incorporate into our budget going forward for next year for the Board of Education. We've been given an estimated cost of around $250,000, so I just want to put that on your radar. because that is something that I expect the superintendent will include in the budget presentation in the next few months. Purchase services. We have the percentage of the budget spent is higher than the prior year, but that is because of a few things around dues and fees. We have to pay our fees for the IB program now, but the families will be submitting their fees later in the year for their students, so that will balance out later this year. We have payment for the state for a portion of the cost of the adult ed that we submit for with the Branford Adult Education Program that we have some of our older students participating in. And everything else is pretty much tracking similar to last year in terms of tuition, supplies and materials, capital, and transportation. The warrant we are submitting is a total of all payments for this month listed alphabetically. And the total payment detail on the warrant is $1,963,128.99. Just want to point out a couple of things on our breakout. There's a couple of things that might seem high in terms of their percentage expenditures at this point. One was instructional equipment, and that is really because of our lease payments are out now, but we will have that reimbursed later in the year. Some of our site improvement line looks already at 119%. This is tracking because typically, and some of us in the construction industry understand this, CLEAF has a smart way of putting out purchase orders for various services and needs that he's projected that we will need throughout the year. Some of those purchase orders may not have been submitted or processed, but the number reads higher because of that. What happens later in the year, as we get through projects or services that are maybe not needed, that comes back down. But I do want to share, the 6 years I've been on the board, we've always run at a deficit at this number. Historically, we like to have that at around 1% of the annual budget. We have not had it at that. And so we'll see what the superintendent submits for this year's budget, but it is another number that we need to track and pay attention to. The other thing you might have seen is around our security line. We had an expense for $80,000. That is for the Zero Eyes AI security technology that is going to be implemented in our school buildings. This is an AI system that identifies firearms and is attached to human receivers through Zero Eyes and then immediately communicated to the police department. So that was something that was vetted through the Standing Building Committee and then through the Board of Ed. So you'll see that $80,000 in the warrant. Besides that, I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have regarding the financials for this month.
Anyone have questions for Moira?
Just one line. I was wondering about custodial. It was running hot, it looked like. That is under supplies and material.
Moira, did you catch that?
What page were you looking at?
Custodial under
Page 3.
page 3.
Okay.
Under supplies and material.
Yeah, it has to do with the way they purchase the supplies and the timing of when they do bulk orders.
Oh, that makes sense.
So they buy bulk orders. They order for all the schools at one time, and they have it so that it'll last for a while.
Okay.
Part of the contract, the bid that we do for custodial supplies has restrictions on shipping. So if we have orders that are smaller, the companies will charge us shipping, so we try and do bulk orders, so that we eliminate the shipping charges by hitting a certain dollar threshold.
Gotcha.
So it's just timing of when they submit their orders.
Okay. I'm going to have to look back. I bet I asked the same question last year.
Maybe.
All right. Thank you, though.
If not, you, maybe somebody else.
Yep.
Some of that also may be because there's a fair number of encumbered charges on there as well.
They just did another round of orders. They were just sending them out. So it was a little bit earlier than probably in prior years, but it was a lot of those orders were just sent out at the end of October.
Anything else on the expenses?
Just going back to that Zero Eyes program, is that in every school now, or what? It sounds interesting, but I'm not sure exactly how does it work. Is there cameras, or
Yeah, well, it works through our existing security cameras. So it's a software.
Okay.
And so it's run through our existing cameras. I suggest you look up the website. It's really interesting and it'll help you better understand it. But essentially it's AI technology that can identify guns, essentially. And it's been proven, they've used it throughout the US, not to have, if a kid's carrying a baseball bat, it's not going to mistake it for a weapon. But it's another way of, unfortunately, protecting our students and our staff from the unfortunate event of someone having a firearm in the school. It gives us a little better advantage of time to respond to something like that.
It says it analyzes over 36,000 images per second from security camera video feeds and alerts authorities within seconds if a firearm is detected. That's on their website.
And what schools is it going into? Is it all of them?
All
Or is it-
schools.
oh, okay.
All schools. It does not use any technology to identify faces or any sort of way of identifying names or faces or race. It has nothing to do with that. So the identity of the students is always protected through this software. It's really just about identifying the actual firearm.
You may have said this and I might have missed it, but is it a one-time charge or is it something that will be?
Software is never one
Yeah.
time.
No.
Well,
That's
again,
the
if it's
initial-
80,000 and then is it 80,000 every year or is it 80,000 first implementation and then it's?
That's a good question.
Do we know what that is? I
I
mean, it
don't
sounds like
believe
it sounds like money well
it's-
spent. I'm not. I just was wondering what we can be prepared for.
What the reoccurring costs are.
Okay.
I know this was the initial
Okay.
payment. We are the first ones in the state of Connecticut to do this. I
Early
also think we
adopter.
want to be a little careful about talking about some of the security stuff
of course.
publicly, so I don't
course.
know how much of this we really want to get into too much detail
Okay.
publicly.
That's fair.
If that's okay.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, probably we wouldn't understand the detail anyway, so we just understand the costs.
Yes.
So, anything else on while we're on warrants, or any of the meeting minutes from either October 10th, October 18th, and I do know that we were sent today the tuition report and the enrollment report as of October 1st, 2023.
Yes.
So, Moira or Linda, do you want to address either one of those documents?
So quickly, the tuition report isn't much different from last month, slight difference in costs, but the accounts are the same. There is the possibility of 1 or 2 outplacements that are in discussions now. So as usual, these numbers could change. And we've also looking at the impact of the students that we have to keep all the way through the end of the school year after they turn 22 and the impact of that. So the numbers will change, but for right now, it's just slightly different from last month. For the enrollment report, I brought with me one page from the demographic study that was done, kind of just the medium range that they did, and we are actually above that number. It was 3,087 was their projection for students, and right now we're at 3,100. So new demographic study was pretty close, very close.
What was it? What was the number on the study? 3,000?
3,087.
87?
Yes.
And it's yeah. Really close.
So while it did go down, it didn't go down off by a few students. And it is projected to go up over the next few years, according to the study, but.
And I know last time we talked about some families volunteering to go to LEAT to alleviate some of the.
I believe there was only one.
Only one.
Only
it
one took
stayed
the offer.
same.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there was only one that was willing to do that. That is a big commitment because it,
Yeah, because it's for all 4 years, yeah.
yes.
Any questions regarding the enrollment report?
What year are we in the current demographic study?
Here?
Okay, so it's still early on,
Yes.
but it's been pretty accurate thus far.
Yeah, so far it seems to be pretty accurate. The study goes to the 2032-33 school year. Just sounds very strange.
It'll be here before we know it.
We were saying that about 23.
Right. And it's supposed to, it's kind of hit the floor now, and now it's going to start,
Well,
it's going to remain constant and then tick up?
It goes down to 25-26.
Okay.
Is the low point, and then it picks up from there.
Okay.
So the projection right now for 25-26 is 3,067 students. So it only goes down 20 from what their projection is for this year. So very slight fluctuation in the next 2 years, and then back up.
Do you think the new dates for kindergarten enrollment will impact the study? Or will it just kind of even out over the years?
Yeah, I think it's going to even out from what I've been told. I don't think it's going to be a huge
It's
impact.
not going to be like a huge decrease or increase.
It may impact the first year, but then
Right.
afterwards
Yeah.
it will
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
Right.
Sort of like that bubble year you
Right.
always get
Right.
once in a while.
Are there any other questions?
I got one.
Go ahead.
It's on one of your meeting minutes, and I was just curious, and it's one of the warrants. You lease 73 Church Street for the Transition Academy?
Yes.
I probably asked this before, but what do they do there at the Transition Academy?
So that is for the students that are, we are required to educate to age 22. So instead of outplacing them, we have a program in-house.
Oh, okay.
So we bring them in-house, they stay within the community, they learn life skills, they do cooking, how to make their bed, how to,
Okay.
they get paid, you'll see on the warrants where
Yeah.
it says name removed for privacy, but it says hours worked. They get a small stipend for working out in the community.
Okay.
They learn how to fill out a timesheet, they get their paycheck, they go to the bank with it, they learn how to make the deposit, how to manage money, they go to the store and get to spend that money. So it's all part of a life skills program for these students.
Okay, I follow. It sounds great, actually, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know what it was, but
And these are
now
for
I got
students
you.
who may have already graduated from the high school, but
Well,
we're still,
Right, well,
we're still taking care
required
of them until they
to-
turn
yes.
22.
Yes, they have to, so it's the end of the school year after they turn 22. So, which is a change in the legislation.
Some work here with Todd Rick.
Yes.
I was just going to add, it's been a very successful program. I've had a chance to visit it a couple of times, and it's important to know too, the parents are thrilled with it too, because their kids can be in their community and building these skills in their community so they can, take them out and use them in everyday life. So it's been hugely successful.
Yeah. Park and Rec has been a great partner with working with the students here.
It's close by, so that
Yes.
helps a
Yes.
lot.
And the location at 73 Church Street works really well because it is so close to the green, so they can come down to the green to go to the bank, to work in other businesses on the green, and be part of the community.
Thank you.
I had one item that actually, I was going to bring it up under new business, but Moira, since you're on.
Sure.
The Board of Education Operations Committee Public Forum, I had mentioned it, brought it up last month that it was happening on the 18th of October.
Right.
And so I was unfortunately not able to attend it. I was going to ask any of the Board of Finance members if they were able to, but could you give us maybe a little synopsis of the, what was said, what the public forum entailed?
With regard to the budget?
And this is regarding, yes, thank you. It was regarding the 24-25 education budget.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have those notes in front of me, although, oh no, I do, sorry, I take that back. Mostly it was from athletes. We heard from the hockey team, we heard from the swim team, we heard from cheerleading. I'm forgetting there, I think, oh, we heard from crew. So we heard from, I believe, let me see here, yeah, I have a Guilford rowing. So there was mostly athletics. We did hear from a couple of parents, I believe, encouraging us to really bolster our para staffing and just staffing in general, that there have been incidences throughout the year where teachers and administrators have had to cover classes because we're having a very hard time filling substitute teaching positions. This is not unique to Guilford. So there was a few parents requesting that. But similar to past years, it's usually the athletic teams that come out and just asking us to build more equity into our funding of some of the athletics.
Great. Thank you. And that's really the kind of the kickoff for the Board of Education. Actually, it's not kind of, it is, to get public forum in October. So just wanted to get an idea of what was being mentioned. So thank you for having your notes in front of you.
Sure. We also did back on we did also meet with district leadership, you know, all the principals and administrators, and got their feedback as well. So that should be in our minutes as well.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for Board of Education for Linda or Moira?
No.
Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to accept the report of expenditures for the Board of Education for October 2023 in the amount of $5,227,336.37.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Excellent. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Moira.
both.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Item number 6, review and approve the report of expenditures for town government for October 2023. Good evening, Mary Jane.
Good evening. So we'll start with revenues, I guess. So we are 33% through the year. Revenues are just shy of 55%, slightly less than where we were last year at this time. Just note that golf is at 65%, had another good season so far, and they'll have another one in the spring.
Still open.
It's still open.
They're such a feel-good story, aren't
Yeah.
They are. That is a good way of putting it. It is a feel-good. So many years they struggle.
I know, it's nice. It's nice to say that they're over their revenue budget instead of the first few years I was here. But they are meeting. They are meeting to see when they're going to close. So that'll be coming. The other thing, fire is brought in more than 33%, and youth and family services still bringing in large amounts there as well. 43.5%. So other than that, I didn't really have any.
Park and Rec seems to be holding their own.
Yes, yes, we've been working on it.
Yeah.
We've adjusted their budgets. Plus,
Right.
what happens? It'll slow down, and then right before the end of the year, we have the boat rentals. The big chunks come in at the very end too. So the Park and Rec revenue budget can fluctuate throughout the year.
And I do think we have a stronger Park and Rec program. I know I'm biased, but I've met a lot of people from Madison and Brantford coming to Guilford for like kid youth programs.
That's not part of this budget. That's separate.
Separate.
So this is really just for use.
Program piece.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else on revenue?
Just congratulations again to the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Department for that great job they're
We
doing.
don't like to pat ourselves on the back every month, but if you must.
That was the licensing fees from the Blues Brothers performance the other night.
Yeah, we saw.
I was showing pictures earlier.
Be careful.
I did show pictures earlier before the meeting started.
not as
Could be on-
good as the
could be on TikTok
the
soon.
basketball.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
those numbers aren't in here.
Yeah,
Wait till
those
the
numbers are
basketball
not, but
Wizards
that
comes.
was good. Next time I'll do it with you, yeah.
Well, you can actually play that game.
Yes, I can.
Okay, moving on from revenue, go to expenditures.
So on the expenditure side, the last couple of months I have talked about some of the departments that are over the 33% because we pay out at the beginning of the year. Just a couple that I wanted to bring to your attention. The fire department, which is one that we're looking at. If you back out their purchase orders, they're at 33%. They're right where they should be at this point. And as I noted earlier, their revenue is over the 33%. So like fire, many of the other departments would be at 33 if you were to back out their encumbrances, but they're pretty steady from one year to the next.
And I know you mentioned this, but, and we've talked about it in months past, but Youth and Family Services on the increased income side, we see the increased expense side for the services they're providing. There is an encumbrance on there, but.
Yes, and back that encumbrance out, yeah. And we are still covering part of Youth and Family Services with ARPA funds, but we'll have lots of discussions regarding that in the upcoming budget because ARPA funds have to be obligated. So we'll be having to bring them back into the regular budget or make some other arrangements.
I hate to call them out because they're always right on the number, but library seems to be trending high with no encumbrances. A little bit. Libraries, yeah, they're almost, you know,
right.
it's not by
Right.
much, but it's a little bit higher. I didn't know whether there was a particular reason for that. I know they have a beautiful roof going on, but that's not part of this. That's capital. That's not part of this, so.
So
I know it's not that.
if you look at the detail of the library in the back, a lot of their maintenance has already been complete. So,
okay.
you know, a lot of.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Okay,
Yeah,
now I
so
see.
again, timing.
Yeah.
If you're building maintenance, technology, electronic materials, so at the beginning of the year is when they're purchasing all of that, which brings them up higher.
Yeah, the salaries are lower and everything else.
The salaries are at
everything else is
29%,
paid
so
off.
they're right, you know, that's pretty much right on.
All right. So
but it's-
that probably isn't going to change too dramatic. I mean, this is
Right.
going to trend
Correct.
naturally at this
Yes.
point.
Yep.
Okay.
But,
All right.
so there, no concern there at least.
That's why we ask the questions, because everything's actually normal. Okay. Anything else on expenses? Warrants? Big number for the tennis court, but that's.
Yeah, that's expected.
Yeah, that was expected. Do you know if I mean, I know they're done. Is there any more payments to that, or is that pretty much?
I believe
get
it.
it
I
close?
believe it's all set.
Yeah.
Did they drop pickleball courts on that, lines on that court too?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
I think they did that at Adams.
I know they did
In
it
some
at
areas
Adams,
they
I was
did,
just
but
wondering
yeah.
at the high school,
I don't
because I
believe
think
they did
that's
at the high
mainly.
school.
Okay. If nothing on warrants, then we can move over to the medical.
So on the medical, if you remember last month, I reported that we were working to catch up on the expense for the stop loss. So you'll see in October, we paid 2 months. As I reported, we'll have 2 months in October, 2 months in November, 2 months in December, and then we'll be on a monthly schedule. We are still working with our consultants to begin the process of reimbursement because, as I mentioned last month, unlike when everything was with Anthem, it all flowed through. Now Anthem is paying the claims, and we need to reimburse ourselves from the stop loss. So right now, we're at $40,000 that we would be looking to get reimbursed, and we're working with the consultants on the process to do that. So we have the payment process figured out, and now we need to get the revenue stream. So we are, at six members covered, over 75,000. I think that's up 2 from last month, although we're still only at 40,000 and 2.9% covered by the ISL. Revenue is tracking pretty much where we expect. As I mentioned to the selectmen, we are showing a $1.4 million surplus, but you keep in mind we are behind in paying our stop loss, and the first few months of the year, as our employees are using their deductibles, the town's portions of the claims are lower. That's why our numbers are lower, and as we go through the year, it balances out. If you remember last year, I think it was only about $100,000 off the budget. So, Megan, did you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. In other words, that's not a surplus you would, hang your hat on at the moment.
Yeah, not yet. Not even halfway through the year.
Right.
As part of the next year's budgeting, are we happy with the division between Anthem and the service provider for the processing? Is that something we want to look to do year over year, or is that something that could change? It's hard to know right now because the insurance companies haven't really come out with what they're doing.
We're only a couple months in, so
right.
We anticipate, I would say, as a group, to look at that every year and review our medical and go out to bid and look at that every year. Now that we have the experience of splitting, it's not as scary.
Right.
At first it's like, wow, this is a big change. Is it going to work for us? So now that it's done, it's a lot easier for us to look at different things in the future as well.
Wouldn't be so as intimidating as it might have been.
Right.
Okay.
One of the beauties of the stop loss insurance is we don't hit the numbers and then raise the rates.
Right.
Right, for everything else.
It's experiential modification, so they won't raise the rates dramatically anyway.
But they won't give you the savings.
Pardon me?
But they won't give you the savings.
No, they won't. Oh, of course not. No, well, just like we capture the upside, and they can capture the upside. Right?
And we are scheduling a meeting very soon. I don't think we have a date set yet, to begin reviewing the medical for the upcoming budget.
Thank you.
Anything else for town, Mary Jane? For Mary Jane? I wasn't asking you. I figured you were done.
I'm done.
Go ahead, please.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the report of expenditures of the town government for October 2023 in the amount of $2,606,755.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, abstentions, recusals? I'll recuse myself from payments to Antonazzi Associates.
You did have a payment on this warrant
Hmm?
in the special warrants.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I look for them. Make sure. Gotta meet the requirement.
Yep, no, I get it.
Item number 7, discuss and take possible action on resolution to authorize a supplemental appropriation of $94,000 for upgrades to the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems at Baldwin Middle School.
Mr. Chairman, I think this has been described and discussed in great detail.
I believe it has.
I move we go ahead with this resolution.
I'll second it.
All right. Well, that was easy. Any further discussion about it?
Just one question, clarification.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure. So within the bond authorization, we already have enough appropriated to pull another 94,000.
Correct. There's savings from the other project, as you can see from, I know it's a little tiny, but this is just extrapolated from the larger capital project that I give you on a quarterly basis.
We actually got it, I think, last month, so you could refer back to it last month, I think.
So I just pulled this out just to show you, because the bond council does the resolution, and So I'll just say that when you approve the resolution the first time in the authorization does give the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance the authority to do this without going back to the public for this. And bond counsel gives me the authority to determine where it's coming from, and I'm just showing you where we're going to do that. So.
Another question, if we use the 94 for this specific project that's within multiple projects, right? Within
Correct.
the authorization,
Yes.
are we going to short somebody else?
No, what we're doing is we have a project, as you can see, we have a project that has money left over, so we're removing
A
from that
project
project.
that's already been completed.
Right.
We saved some money on one.
So right.
And we're fortunate that we can apply it to the.
So it's
You're not taking any
Right.
that has.
You're not shorting another project.
Yeah,
It's a
nothing else is
project
being
that's been
shorted.
completed.
It's a direct reallocation.
Good.
correct, yep.
Okay,
So-
thanks.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8, consider and take possible action on the 2024 meeting calendar. Did we see that?
No.
Was it posted? I didn't see anything attached.
No.
It's okay.
You
You got time. Just get us ready.
Yeah, wait.
You're just putting it on our radar.
I should have said something too, because I was trying to do the.
Okay, so consider and take possible action, so we're basically just gonna table it.
To December.
Yeah,
Table it.
that's fine. I think we pretty much know the third Monday, with some exceptions, right?
I think
So, all right. Committee reports, number 9, building permits, trending like last year on single family. Okay, item number 10, old business. I did just want to mention, and Matt, Mary Jane, I don't know if you wanted to mention anything about the capital budget presentations that were on November 16th that I believe most of us were part of, whether we were in person or virtual. I know the request currently is just over 9 million, and that's for that's not including the bonded, right? That's for
That's the total current request for.
total current request, right? Is that 2-year?
No.
No, it's one. That's just for the 1 year, right?
So there are some large projects in there which will be funded through various means, including lot SIP, low SIP, potentially bonding when we go back out to bond. We don't intend to go back for a bonding round this time. We do it every 2 years, as you know. So some of that stuff will get moved. A majority of those funds came from a couple of big engineering projects. So at least $500,000.
Almost 6 million.
Almost 6 million of those.
That is just large engineering, road construction projects.
Which we anticipate will be funded through LOTSIP. So we will, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but this is one of those years where I'd like to see us again ratchet up what we do on pay-as-you-go for capital projects. We've been at the $1 million to $1 million for a number of years. As some of you may recall, we were at one point down around 800,000. And the more we can put in the operating capital, the less we have to do for long-term bonding when appropriate. So we may look to jump that number a little bit, but I need to rely on the support of the balance of the Board of Selectmen for that. So, and by the way, just every time we go to the bond market, one of the things they say is, as they are impressed with the fact that we've been able to maintain or just increase the pay-as-you-go capital project stuff as opposed to going out to the market.
Mr. Chair, some other old business.
Go ahead.
May I?
Yes, you may.
Speaking of going to the markets, at a previous meeting, there was some slight discussion of the merits of reevaluating who our financial advisors are, going up for an RFP. They've known us for a very long time. We know them for a very long time. As we know, that doesn't always mean it's the best of all worlds. And since we do go out to RFP for the pension committee, for our auditors, and for other financial guidance and management, would it make sense to have a look around and see if we have the best people available? And how does that process work?
For the Reva?
Financial advisors.
Oh, financial advisor. That does go out to bid. Oh, bond counsel, that's a different story. Bond counsel or financial advisors?
Financial advisors for bonding, he's talking about.
Okay.
I was thinking financial advisors, who we've had
Okay.
for a very long time.
Got it.
I don't know if that goes out to bid.
It has not gone out to bid in some time.
Right.
I'd be happy to have a conversation about the advantages of doing so, training a new organization to learn our business, to learn our organization. They're one of, what, 2 or 3 of the leading firms in the state of Connecticut. But that is an appointment that is at the luxury of the Board of Selectmen. But I'd be happy to have a conversation about the benefits or the benefits of going out to bid. So.
We're in year, what year are we in with the?
We don't have, to Bob's point, we don't have a long-term arrangement. This is an appointment by the Board of Selectmen for bond advisors and bond counsel. That they serve at the pleasure of the current administration.
Okay, all right.
So
we currently are with Shipman and Goodwin.
Pardon me?
Is that right?
Yes. But he's talking financial advisors, that's Bill Lindsay that comes to speak to us? Yes.
Sorry, I meant the bond counsel.
Do we know how long we've been with them?
We've been with them for probably, in this version and current versions of this company, probably for 25, 30 years, as I recall. It was, what was it before the Bill and Mark took the firm over? No, it wasn't Munistat. We've basically been using the same firm for a long time. Similar to what we've done with our auditing firm.
Sorry.
Okay. I mean, I just think if an RFP may turn out that it wouldn't be surprising if they turn out to be the absolute best, but I think it's worth having a look around.
I think where their expertise and their familiarity with Guilford shines is when we go to the rating agencies. It's foolproof because of the history that we have with them.
And you were saying this.
We'll take a look, and we're happy to entertain. We're happy to entertain the idea of doing so. What I'll do is I will talk to some of my peers in the industry and find out who typically goes out for an RFP for those services, and if they found any value in doing so. Again, it's a small available pool of providers in that marketplace, and when you typically find one, you stay with them. So, and most of them now are owned by national firms.
Yeah, that was going to be my question about the pool. There's just not many of them. Yes. But thank you for raising it.
Thank you.
Anything? Yes.
You do have the meeting schedule. It's just further down the documents on your board pack.
Oh.
I just
Okay.
forgot to link it to that agenda item.
All right.
You scroll all the way down to the documents.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say mine's at the top too. I'm all the way to the bottom, I'm scrolling back up. I'm like, oh.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. All right. All right. So 2024 meeting schedule for Board of Finance. Anybody have any comments or questions?
The June meeting is the Tuesday, is that, is the June 19th?
It's because of Juneteenth,
Is the
which
Monday
falls
is
on-
not on the 19th?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we got caught on that one a couple years ago.
Yeah, I
so
just didn't know whether the
we
holiday
now
fell on
we
the
now
day
know not to
before.
get caught on that one again. So thank you, Tracy, for picking that one up. So yeah, so we've got a Tuesday, we got the Thursday, February 15th, because that has to do with the budget presentations, and all the rest are Monday except for the Tuesday in June.
And January.
Yes, of course, June. And we have the dates in March and April for budget meetings. Okay. We have to prove it, right? So I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 meeting schedule as presented in the memo.
Second.
Just one quick, real quick item that I just noticed a little.
Need to vote on it?
Yeah, this is, yes. Yeah, we got to vote on it, so we got a motion and a second, and discussion, November 20th, memo should be 2023. Just want to make sure we're not.
Right, that we're not approving it in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
No, well, I get it, 2024, just change all the dates to 2024, right? But
Oh, yeah.
the memo needs to be 23, just to be sure.
I hate missing Thanksgiving, so, yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Tracy, for loading that up. And new business, I did have one item, just a reminder for the board. We have our joint budget meetings with the Board of Education prior to our December and January meetings. So if I recall correctly, we usually meet an hour before our Board of Finance meeting in December, and we usually meet an hour and a half before. So 6:30, we would meet on at our December regular meeting to meet with the Board of Education, and then January we will meet at 6 o'clock prior to our regular meeting.
So that's December 18th?
Yeah.
Yep, the dates of our regular meetings.
Yep.
Just prior. Anything else under new business? All right, sure. Last chance. Okay. Item number 12, public forum. Anybody wishing to address the board? Public forum. And if not, then I would like to wish all of you, the Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, and the community of Guilford a happy Thanksgiving, and be safe, and eat lots of turkey, or whatever it is you like. Stuffing, squash. How about pumpkin pie? Have it all. This is the chance.
And happy holiday to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, with that.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Came in really handy. Thank you.